This is episode 74 of the SteadyTrade Podcast with your host, Team Bohen.
So we've got Kara and Josh here, and then DJ will be here in a minute. Oh!
And yeah, today Tim talks with his team about their first month in the paper trading challenge. And guess what? One of them turned $30,000 into over $1 million in this first month. Who was it? How did they do it? Maybe it was a glitch. Maybe it was God. Maybe it was both. Listen in to find out. Just remember, this is paper trading. It's practice. It's pretend. The strategy doesn't work in the real world, but there are still lessons to be learned from it. So let's jump right in.
Welcome back to the SteadyTrade Podcast. In today's episode, we're going to get you an update on the paper trading challenge. You know, if you haven't listened to some of the past episodes, you might not know. If this is your first one, you can kind of jump back in the catalog. But currently, as of fall and I guess more winter 2018, we've had this face-off challenge where we took auditions at the conference in Orlando, narrowed that down to 6 participants, 3 on each team, 3 with Steven, 3 with me, and we're kind of going to work through this as basically a reality show type segment. Now, we're pretty much at the time of recording, we're basically 1 month in. We're recording this on the 27th of November, so we're just a few days from the end of November. And, I've been very impressed with what my team members have done. Going to kind of get an update from them today. We're starting out. DJ is stuck in traffic, but he'll be here in a minute. But it's been pretty wild to see these guys do well over the last month with, I have to admit, and I kind of did this on purpose, but I also was very busy. We, StocksToTrade, I represented us at the Trader Expo in Las Vegas a week or so ago, had another travel engagement before that. Plus with what I do at StocksToTrade Pro, I do twice daily webinars every day, plus the podcast, plus a watch list, plus a lot of stuff. So stay very busy. But the point is, I also wanted to see, I wasn't looking to get blood out of a stone. I wanted to see, especially this first month, would my team members step up, show up every day, which they have, which I was damn impressed because, you get random people on the internet and sometimes they just disappear. I really wanted to see if they were committed. I really wanted to see what their style was and if they could be successful with the skill set that they had and kind of prove themselves across this first month. And I think all 3 have done that with, a couple of them had incredible results. So we're going to kind of get that first month update from all 3 of them as we kind of work through this. And also, if you haven't listened to it yet, last week's or a couple weeks ago, depending on when this air, was this episode with Steven. Now, also, one thing I would like to let you know, we recently did a 14-part episode or series on Tim Sykes' Trader Checklist. And just as an FYI, many, many, many times in that 14-episode series, I talked about Trader Checklist being free. Just as an FYI, that is no longer the case. It's a great program. We break it all down in those episodes. Steven and I kind of give our input on it. But just in case you were wondering, if you've listened to those episodes and you can't find it for free anymore, that was by design. Tim has basically decided that it's a good enough program, that there's valuable content there, that there's no need to give it away anymore. So it's now it's part of the Tim Sykes Millionaire Challenge. So if you listen to those episodes and you like what Steven and I have to say about that series, definitely check out Tim Sykes Millionaire Challenge. You get access to that program as part of it. So let's get kind of started here. We've got we've got Kara and Josh. Kara. Josh. I screw it up every it's like saying paper trading challenge. I screw it up every time, even though every time Glennie, the producer, gave me a mnemonic device. He's like, Kara, like she cares. And I say that in my head and I still say Kara. But anyway, so we've got Kara and Josh here, and then DJ will be here in a minute. Oh, and one more thing. as we talk about, and I'm kind of really dragging out this introduction here, but as we talk about this month's results, remember, we started out, all three participants started out with $30,000 in paper money. So they were above the PDT. Now, Steven's team has kind of, so a couple members have found a way to kind of gamify or game the system. And actually Josh had mentioned he was kind of over trading a little bit because of the fact that he didn't have to think about the PDT. So what we're going to do in typical reality show fashion is we're actually going to change the rules next month. So this month was 30,000 of trading capital. So all the participants were over the PDT. They could trade freely in and out. No implications of that PDT, the 3 round trips in a rolling 5-day period. Next month, we're going to 1,500. So we're basically going to see if they can emulate the Tim Sykes model. When Tim Sykes started out, he was at 1,500. I think Sykes started out at 12,000. Tim Grattani started out at 1,500. And, Tim Grattani might be the most successful penny stock trader ever. He started out with 15. So in December, we're going to go back to 1,500 and enforce the PDT. I'm sure all of the team members are probably furious at this point, but I like it. I like moving the goalposts, making it harder, and seeing where the chips fall. So that being said, DJ is here. We'll get started. Kara, why don't you just kind of give us an update? What I'd like to do is get a quick update where each of you are at, and then we'll just kind of start the discussion. So Kara, why don't you start?
Okay, so first thing I want to say is I give glory to God because you really weren't a part of our decision making at first, which is, I think it's a good thing because it kind of makes you have to study a little bit more and really learn how StocksToTrade works and everything like that. So the first week I was I didn't know what to do, and so I was just like, God, you have to help me. And he's been faithful ever since. So I'm going to tell you how much I made, or how much I have total. I have $1,143,743.63.
Okay. So you had mentioned you'd sent me a video yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's back up. So this is interesting. Where were you roughly Friday?
Friday I was at, I think 46,000.
Okay. Okay. So still a killer results. That's basically 50% gain. So fill me in. What happened how did you end up with $1 million? What happened here?
Okay. So yesterday, StocksToTrade glitched a little bit, so I wasn't able to get out of these 2 stocks. I found 2 stocks that mimic each other exactly, and it's should I tell the stock?
Oh yeah, you definitely.
So it's MU and AMD. They're both the Bitcoin type issue, they're the semiconductor type stocks. So there's bad news. So that Monday, it was the perfect short sell because generally with AMD, if there's no good news, it's going to be a short on Monday. And then the next day it rises. It's usually green day.
Yep.
So I was looking at the stock and I saw okay, I knew it was gonna be a short. I was like, well, 1, it's the weekend play. 2, the long-term chart, the year-to-date chart looked like it was heading downward. And then 3, there was no good news on it. It moves with the news. And MU and AMD are both neck and neck with what they do. So I wasn't, but I talked myself out of it and I ended up going long pre-market. And so I was like, okay, yeah, this is not going to work. Then I couldn't get out. So it dropped. And then, so I was like, okay, I was really frustrated. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to go short. Well, during that time, I ended up losing money because I wasn't patient. And God was telling me he's teaching me patience during this time. And I was just it was really a rough start of a day. So I just turned off my computer. I walked away and just calm down and let God tell me just calm down. It's going to be okay. You're going to get through this. And he was like, just go ahead, go back and watch what I do. So I go back and he's like, go ahead and short into this. So I short, but it's like,
it's funny, and again, I respect your faith, but I never thought of God as a short seller, but go ahead. Okay. I thought God would be a little more positive, but go ahead.
Well, so I go ahead and short into it, and the stock starts well, it doesn't rise at first. So it continues to fall, and I end up in that point being up 10K on MU, and which is that Friday I had made almost 3K on MU, and then being up 30K on AMD. But both of them follow each other, so they started to move upward within my short sell. So I was able to get out of AMD making I think it was like 26K on AMD. But MU was just started headed up, and God was just like, be patient. I'm teaching you patience. Be patient. So I was in a position where I couldn't get out even if I wanted to get out. So I was just like, all right, I'm just going to trust you, because he's been showing himself faithful before in trades, just like this kind of like weird situation. So I just let the stock go up. I saw that it was making this arc. It was heading upward, but it was making an arc. And so every point where it looked like it would be like the top of the arc, I added in. Because one, there's no good news. All the news is bad on this stock. And these two stocks move with news. And even analysts have, reviewed the stock.
I like your due diligence, by the way. No, I like that you found this repeating pattern, but go ahead.
So, and analysts have looked at the stock, and they're a lot of them said it's going to go down to 7. Well, one analyst. Everyone else said it was going to go to 25, but that was before the news came out, like the bad news. So I was like, okay, well, this is fine. So I was in MU, which is doesn't have as much volume as AMD, but still has really good volume. So as every time it got to like a higher bridge, higher set point, I doubled up, because I was like, eventually it's going to come down, and when it comes down, I'm going to be able to gain. So I just doubled up every single time I saw it going higher, and like not just going higher, but higher and like having a settled point, I would put more money in. So when it started to break, it wasn't just like a little bit I gained, but it was a lot. And so it took a long time for it to get from, I think it was like 36-28 area down to like 36, even like 21. But I actually started gaining money when it hit 36, like 14, 13, 12. And I was like,
because you kept raising your average. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And so I was like, God, I really want to get out of this. He was like, no, I told you to be patient. He was like, you're not just going to get a gain. I'm teaching you something in this because I want to bless you. So I was like, all right. So he said, go ahead and put in for like when it hit like 36.03, he was like, go ahead and put 35.99.
Which is a whole dollar, half dollar. I agree with God. Yep. I like that entry as an ad. Yep.
So I put in 35.99 as my buy to cover. And right when I put it in, the stock shot up opposite. And throughout the whole day, that day, I would have not had a chance to get out of that at all. And like, he was like, I was like, I really want to get, when I was like, I really want to get out of it. He said, just be glad I'm not telling you to get out at 35.47, which is where I had like put in my bottom entry for the short sell. And so I was like, all right. And actually didn't even reach 5.47 until pre-market today.
Okay.
So like right when I got in, it went down one more to, I think it was like 5.98.
Yep.
And then it just shot up, and I made it like, it's him. Like he has the perfect exits. And if you look at my other videos, you would see perfect exits on basically all of them, and it's not me. So Yeah.
So I guess I'll make sure to watch yesterday's video. So I like that. I'm not real fond of God telling you adding to a loser on a short, but
it was, if you look at the chart on that day, you would have added in too. Because,
okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So.
How many shares are we talking?
It's like 7.2 million.
But how do you have that much buying power? So
Short or StocksToTrade gives you that much.
Oh, okay. So we'll work through this in the future.
As leverage.
Okay, now I get it. Okay. So must be you. Anyway, we'll figure that out. So I think maybe we had some sort of glitch there where it's giving you way too much buying power. So
unlimited short.
Yeah, exactly. So but Josh, so where are you at, Josh? And kind of give me an update there. So
I'm not having that much success. Not like Kara. I'm sorry.
No, it's Kara. You had it right.
I'm down. I believe I'm down about $800. So I'm at like 29.2. I've just been kind of again even. At first, I've had that little how do you say account mentality. And
which we kind of talked about a little bit at the beginning, one thing that Josh, I think, and again, as I mentioned, I haven't had time to coach these guys much this month, but one thing I did talk to Josh about was, he was kind of going into this with small shares, looking at small moves because he's used to trading with his real account, which is a small account. And it's like, well, part of the paper trading challenge is you got more buying power. You can be a little more aggressive too. So,
yep, exactly. And so I started doing that. I caught myself trading higher price stocks. Really wasn't used to that price action. But again, I've just been kind of 50-50 with everything. I've definitely have more losers than winners, but my winners have been either just as much as my losers. So I've been about even. It's nothing like Kara. But again, I have started, I've caught myself starting to be in a stock and doing about 7, 8, 10 trades on that one stock, just kind of in and out real quick. Definitely doing some scalping. Not my forte. Not what I've been doing for the past year.
Which I don't think, in my opinion, is, being a scalper is a very, in my opinion, most people that try and scalp have similar results. Small wins, small losses, small wins, small losses. And at the end of the day or the end of the month, you're looking at that break-even type day. So, or break-even month, which is kind of what you're looking at.
Exactly. And I've been looking for more, I've been more short biased just because I don't have to find shares to short. I can pretty much short whatever I want.
Yep.
And I've been kind of catching myself where I'll take a big position size where I think a short should be. And if, a couple cents above it breaks out, cut it real quick. It's just because it's so easy to do that.
Well, and that's
in reality, I know you can't do that.
But that's good technique. I mean, it's again, especially if it's the big flyers of the day. If it's like, today, if it's ANY or ASNS, I mean, you have to cut those short. ASNS just, spiked 50 cents in a few minutes a little while ago. So you have to have that type of sniper mentality. Yep.
And I've been watching Any today, ANY, and I've been watching a lot of videos on like volume exhaustion, and of course at the 11:30 I was looking at it and I saw the volume pop up and I saw that big red candle next to that green candle. I was like, oh, it looks like it's kind of it's hitting yesterday's top resistance basically, and I was kind of I was going to use that as resistance, but I'm still gun shy. Especially with these shorting these low flow stocks. Definitely still very. Well,
one thing I appreciate, Josh, is I appreciate you treating, again, you're treating this quote unquote real, and I really appreciate that. I mean, you're cutting everything, maybe in my opinion, maybe too quickly for this reality show type setup. But I really, really appreciate you. I mean, you're treating this like it's your 30K, like it's real, and I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, and that could be either a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not too sure in this competition.
Right.
But again, yeah, I'm trying to keep good habits, and just trying to work on entries and exits are my biggest thing right now. Is what I'm definitely trying to work on. Short at the top, not buying at the top, and vice versa. So that's basically what I've been trying to do, and I just again been half and half with my results.
Now, do you feel like, again, by being, showing up every day, and you've been there basically every day, do you think that, I mean, have you kind of learned and grown through this last month, even, again, with obviously limited input from me, but.
Oh yeah, definitely I have. I feel like I've been taking more trades than what I wouldn't have. So I'm trying new things. It's kind of hard with your own money. Saying, hey, if the stock hits this point, I'm going to buy in or I'm going to short. And I would always kind of get scared. And with this, it gives me the opportunity to kind of test my hypothesis and see if that's a good spot to, enter. And I've definitely been learning a lot. I've been pretty busy with work this past month. So it's been hard to kind of really keep track of the, what's exactly been going on. But I know this market has been kind of bad.
Yeah, I mean, again, we've seen some great results on our team and Steven's team, in which I was actually surprised. I mean, I've been looking, if you're an active day trader and you're watching this podcast, you might be nodding your head. I mean, November has been kind of aggravating, for lack of a better term. I mean, there's always a trade, there's always opportunity, but it's been choppy for sure. So, but I mean, that's what I love, Josh, win, lose, or draw in this competition. I want, I'll as we proceed through this, I'm sure I'll talk plenty of smack about Steven's team, but I want everyone to succeed. I mean, there's 8 billion people on the planet. I want all 8 billion people to do well. And, if you can, again, as we work through this competition, win, lose, or draw, if you grow and learn and enjoy it, that's really what I hope for. So DJ Dini, what's your update? Give me a total, and then let's kind of talk about where you're at and what's been working for you. We talked a little bit last week. DJ trades a lot of my types of setups, which warms my heart. So
yeah, today I crossed over the $19,000 barrier, so now I'm at 49K. I saw the podcast with Steven's team with Lisa saying she was over 18K, and that was
that was a point I wanted to bring up. That's just like, it reminds me of revenge trading, which is always a terrible thing to do. Like, if you lose big in the morning, then you want to revenge trade in the afternoon. So DJ emailed me. He's like, hey, I'm looking good. I'm happy with my results. I'm going to take the last week off so that I don't give back some profits. And then he emails me today, and he's like, I saw Liz's results, and I went right back in because I wanted to beat her.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm just ultra competitive. So when I see stuff like that, I gotta go for it. Like, second place just isn't really a realistic option for me. So I saw the 18. I was like, all right, I got 2 days. Let's get there. And today I was trading ANY and TSRO. Yesterday I was trading ANY.
ANY and TSRO have been my two favorites the last 2 days. Yep. So
yeah, and I hit some shorts right before they popped up. And yesterday I hit ANY right as it took that big break into VWAP and went under.
Late day when it cracked. Yeah. Late day. Yep.
And that's generally the setups I've been playing anyway.
I love, especially on something like ANY, again, as the listeners, bring up the chart last week of November. ANY has been a huge ripper, but especially yesterday would have been the 26th, just kept squeezing. And then late day, I mean, the air came out, it dropped VWAP, and it dropped like $1 in a couple minutes, I think. So
Yeah. When it got down to VWAP, I wasn't sure if it was going to bounce or not, so I took off most of my position. But then I saw it start to drop again, so I added in and caught another move on the way down under VWAP. So that's been the main thing that's been working for me. Is
that's what I was going to ask. So what's kind of been your best setup, and then kind of what hasn't been working?
So there's been a couple where I saw stocks were gapping up in the morning, and depending on what the previous action had been, like if it had been a stock that had been doing nothing for like 3 months and it had this big gap up, it's a pattern from Stephen Dux's DBD that says, chances are it's probably going to go down. So I hit a couple of those.
Yeah, that's actually in StocksToTrade Pro, I did a webinar. It's like there's a lot of different names for it, but it's like, I mean, I call it, and this is obviously isn't my term, but that basically dead cat bounce short.
Right.
When you've got that just death chart that's just down, 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 and then you get this random pop. I mean, odds are there's a very good odds it's going to fade back, and that's what you're looking at.
Yeah, and that worked for me a couple times this month. Definitely a lot of late day bounces off of VWAP, whether it's bouncing to the bottom of VWAP and continuing to go down, or bouncing off the top of the VWAP and going up. That's been working a lot, and those have been the main ones that have been working for me.
I love, especially if you're a new trader listening to this. I talk about it all the time. I mean, that over under VWAP late day on the big movers of the day. I mean, obviously it's not going to work every time, but you get those big movers that bounce off VWAP, later post 2 p.m. or fail VWAP. I mean, those are very consistent. The bounce off VWAP is a buy, and then that fail on VWAP is a short. I mean, those are very consistent setups. Doesn't mean they work all the time, but it's something you should definitely be looking at if you're trying to find, you hear Steven and I talking about find your pattern. That's something to definitely look at. And for me, especially when I was a part-time trader, I could only really kind of focus in the morning and the afternoon. A lot of my trades or setups would be, I'd be watching in the morning, see what the big gainers were, kind of form a bias, long or short, write them down, put them on my note cards, and then come back around 2 p.m. and see which ones were breaking down or which ones were bouncing off VWAP. So.
Yeah. And the other thing that the strategy that's been kind of like the scariest for me is the top hunting on things that are running during the day. I actually have my own personal schedule that kind of works with that, because unless it's something that's like gapping up out of nowhere and whatever first thing in the morning, I try to avoid shorting first thing. But, I bring my son to school at 8 o'clock West Coast time, and then when I come back, it's about 9 o'clock. And so then I start looking for things that have been running and might possibly be breaking. And that's been working for me, not as well as some of the bounces, but when it works well.
Which is, another I talk about all the time, especially if you're new, that midday window. Some of the best things to do midday is just leave, do other things, take care of your job, take your son to school, whatever, and then kind of come back late day or in the afternoon and kind of see where things are trending, whether they're trending up or down. So.
Yeah.
So I was gonna. What else? So what? What kind of hasn't been working? Is there a specific kind of setup or trade that hasn't been working, or is it just or is it just kind of a lot of little things?
Well, my main losses have come from revenge trading. Absolutely. Okay. Like if something goes wrong in the morning, and then I size up, and then that's
done that. Yep.
My big loss days have been from revenge trading, and I'm fully conscious of it when I'm doing it, and I'll see it start to curl up, and I just don't cut, and that's when I've had my biggest losses.
Okay. So, well, thank you. So what I want to do is that's kind of the update. And then I want to kind of get your thoughts on what you think. So what I want to do is work back through everybody and your thoughts on what you think about us changing the rules. DJ, I don't know if you came in a little late.
I got it.
We're going to change the rules next month. We're going to put you back to 1,500, put you under the PDT. No more of these $5,000 gains or $1 million gains. Now you're going to be hunting for $50 gains, $150 gains. But I think that, I obviously maybe it's me being like this cruel taskmaster, but I kind of like the idea of moving things around and making you do different things, part of the fun. And I think it's realistic. A lot of our listeners, have small accounts, and I'm sure they're probably like, well, geez, maybe if I had a $30,000 account, I could turn it into a $40,000 account, just like these guys are, which I don't think you could. It's not easy, but I think
definitely harder than what it sounds like.
Yeah, exactly. So, Carol, what do you think about going to a $1,500 account next month? And now you're going to be trading, 100 shares or 50 shares. What do you think about changing the rules on you?
I like it because I feel like it will help me learn more, actually, with that being a smaller account. And even though it'd be, I think it would be more difficult. But I think
it will be. You'll be surprised. Yeah.
I think it's also just like another learning tool. Like, I think I'm going to learn a lot from it, and I hope people, if anyone's ever watching, that they'd learn from it too. Hopefully it'll be something, good. So yeah, I like the idea.
And so, again, just so you guys know, my plan is to be much more engaged as we move into this next month working with you guys. I talked about it in the introduction. I kind of thought about it. I'm sure everybody's probably seen Fight Club, but I kind of thought about this as when Jared Leto was out on the step and Tyler Durden kept slamming the door in his face and he had to stay there and prove himself. You guys have all done that. You've all showed up every day. You've all updated me every day. You guys have put in the effort, and I really appreciate that. So, Josh, what do you think about changing the rules?
I think it's awesome, actually. Again, I caught myself doing a bunch of trades I would have never done if I was still under the PDT rule. So I think it's good that, I got a lot of trading out of the way, kind of in and out real quick. Got that out of my system, and now I could go back to being more disciplined and looking for those absolute perfect setups because, we only have 3 day trades a week. So I think that'll be good. Won't be scalping as much, and I think it'll make it more challenging for everybody.
Cool, awesome.
DJ, I completely agree with it.
I'm fine with it. I mean,
you don't like it. I can tell you don't like it.
I mean, I don't, but what can you do? I mean, I'll play by the rules, whatever they are, as long as it doesn't have the unlimited shorting ability.
Yep.
This one did,
Yeah, we'll make sure of that. Yeah. So, but yeah, I could tell you bristled at the idea.
Yes,
so,
I did bristle. Absolutely. That is an accurate description of what's going on with me mentally.
I was always, everybody knows I'm a big Joe Rogan fan, used to watch Fear Factor back in the day. So I kind of think about this as like, when they would get to the end of Fear Factor and they would have the crazy stunt and people would be like, oh no, so that's what we're doing with you, putting you back to the 1,500. So it's the oh no moment. So
is it 1,500 or 15,000?
1,500.
Oh,
so 1,500.
Yep. All right.
Yep. So again, you're going to be trading 100 shares, 150 shares. Maybe if you're trading 10-cent stocks, maybe you can trade a couple thousand shares, but no, you're going to be dialed way back. Yep.
So, from one extreme to the other.
Yeah, exactly. So we started out giving you free reign. You proved yourself for a month. Now we're going to tighten the screws and make you really earn it. So,
all right.
Well, hey guys.
God's not afraid of a $1,500 account, and I'm not either. So.
I like it.
If you turn that into $1 million.
Well, guys, You guys are all great. I really appreciate all of you. I love my team, and I do apologize for being away a lot this month, but man, you guys proved yourself. You put in the work ethic, and like I already said it a couple times, but man, win, lose, or draw, you guys, I really, really respect the work ethic and showing up every day, and I look forward to the next month. And as always, thanks for listening to the Steady Trade Podcast. Check us out at SteadyTrade.com. Check us out at StocksToTrade.com. Be sure to listen to Steven's team episode to see where he's at, and we will see you next time.
We're inspired to vanquish.
Hi, this is Aaron, a.k.a. Double A Ron from New York City, and I like to go outside and find a stray dog, preferably an aggressive breed like a pit bull or a Rottweiler. Then I get real close, stare it down eye to eye until it starts to chase me. Then I run. That's right, I run while listening to Steven and Tim on the Steady Trade Podcast. You can register to win real, actual prizes at their website, SteadyTrade.com. And if you really like what you hear, give the podcast a 5-star rating and write a glowing review on iTunes. I did, and this is how we say goodbye in New York City.